Hey, songwriters, welcome back to another edition of At Home Songwriting. I'm Chad Shank, and today we're going to talk about active listening for songwriters. So, really good songwriters are really good listeners. And there's a difference between passive listening and active listening. So, today I'm going to give you some tips on how you can use other songs and active listening to help you write better songs yourself. So, as listeners, there are a couple of different types of listening. So, I already mentioned it, it's active and passive. Let's talk about the two different types and jump on in. Let's go. All right, so the types of listening. So, as I mentioned, there's passive and there's active. So, passive listening is really listening to any music that's listened to while the music is sort of in the background. You're not really paying a lot of attention to it. You might be multitasking, like this is when you're maybe driving, or when you might be doing cleaning tasks, or you're just kind of hanging out at home, maybe reading the paper. It's when people listen to music while doing their day-to-day activities, like studying, driving, or exercising. So that's passive listening. What active listening is it's in music, it refers to the conscious choice to focus on a piece of music in an undisturbed area so you're not affected by other stimulation. In daily life, you may use music as a background texture, but when you eliminate distractions and you put your focus and attention on the music, that's when you shift into active listening. So, listening is learning when it comes to songwriting. There's so much you can gain from listening as a songwriter. And again, remember, there's no real rules in songwriting. It's just tools and tendencies and also commercial standards. A lot of times, music does need to live up to a commercial standard in order to get its proper attention. And so, why is active listening important then? Well, active listening is important because it teaches you what is popular and what people are listening to. It also teaches you what is trending. So what, again, what's popular, what are people reacting to out there? And when people are reacting and things become trending, that means publishers want that because publishers want money. So what are publishers looking for? Well, listening to songs can help you determine some of that as well. You can also determine what your listeners are used to. You can find out what excites you, and it gives you different perspectives and different ideas as well. So, really, when you're doing active listening, you are looking for structure, nuances, and the composition. So, it's very important to pay attention to those things. So, what should you be listening for exactly? Well, active listening is a skill, and skills take practice. So, the more you do this, the better you get. It's the same with songwriting. Songwriting is a skill too. The more you write, the better you get. So, elements of songwriting. So, when you're listening to other recordings and other songs, the things that you can listen to are lyrics, melody, harmony, groove. You can listen to the instrumentation. You can listen to the genre, the style, and you can also pay attention to structure. So, what sections does the song include? Now, when you're looking at lyrics specifically, you can be listening for, are the lyrics concrete? Are the lyrics abstract? What is the rhyme scheme? What are the types of rhymes? You can pay attention to the types of rhythms that are in the lyrics, like what is the meter? You can pay attention to the length of the lines. Are they long lines? Are they short lines? How many stressed syllables are there? You can also look at just the number of lines. Is it a 4-line section? Is it a 6-line section? Is it an 8-line section? Like, what is happening within the lyrics? Also, you can pay attention to a storyline. What's happening in verse 1? And then what's happening in verse 2? And you can pay attention to what each section is actually telling you within the song itself. And also, don't forget, what's the plot? What is the main progression of the situation that's in a song? You can pay attention to that in the lyrics. From a melody perspective, be listening for note lengths, melodic shapes. We talk about melodic shapes in other videos here on the channel, so make sure that you check out some of the other melody videos so you can learn more about that. You can find out the rhythm of the melody. Is the melody focusing on, quarter notes? Is it focusing on eighth notes? Is it 16th notes? What does that look like? Also, pay attention to where the phrase is starting in relationship to the downbeat. This is something that is often overlooked, but so important. And you've heard me talk about it multiple times. And in the melody tools workshop, I go into this deeper and I kind of show you how that works in the song How Will I Know? Because each section starts at a different place in relation to the downbeat, and it creates contrast, and it also helps drive the song forward. So pay attention to where those phrases start in the songs that you're listening to. You can also pay attention to how many phrases are there. Are there, a certain number of phrases in each section? What does that look like? And how could you use that idea in your song? And then also pay attention to melodic motif. A motif is just a small, memorable pattern of notes that can be used to develop a pattern within a song. So it's kind of a recognizable little pattern that can help you as you develop songs as well. So listen for those as you're doing your active listening. From a harmony perspective, when you're doing active listening, be listening for the types of chords that are used. Are they using major chords? Are they using minor chords? Are there a lot of minor 7 chords? Are there 7th chords, 9th chords? What do those look like? Also, is there a common chord progression, or what is the chord progression in the songs that you're listening to? That can help you make some big determinations and things to help you in your songwriting as well. Also, the harmonic rhythm. How often are chords changing? Are the chords changing one time each measure? Are they changing 2 times each measure? Are they changing once every couple of measures? Is it just a 1 chord song? Like, what is the harmonic rhythm and how often are the chords changing? And then also pay attention to the chord colors and the key color. So is the song in a certain mode? Is it a minor song? Is it a major song? Is it a Dorian song? We talk about this in the Harmony Tools workshop on this channel as well. So if you want to learn more about modes, check that out. So the other things to listen for as you keep in your active listening mindset, and as you're listening to music that really excites you, pay attention to the groove. What is the feel of the song? Is it in a shuffle feel? Is it in a triplet feel? Is it more like 4 on the floor? Like, what's the groove doing? And then also, what's the tempo doing? Because the tempo makes a big difference in how that is relaying emotional information to your listener. So pay attention to that and learn how you can use tempo to communicate. Also, what instruments are you hearing? Are you hearing maybe an electric piano part? Is there a guitar? Are there other synthesizers? Are there sound effects? What is the instrumentation within the song and how are they played? Also, be listening for the style and the structure. So is it a verse, chorus song? Is there a pre-chorus? Does the song have a bridge? You should be listening to that as you're actively listening as well. So how then do you get into the mindset, and how do you actively listen? Well, the first thing to do when you start active listening is to get rid of other distractions, because active listening needs your full attention. So this means you are actually sitting down to study or actively listen to whatever song you're trying to learn more about. So the steps basically: clear any distractions, select your song, prepare to listen more than once. And I would say that each time you listen, pick a different element to focus on. And I've heard some people say that you should spend enough time to listen to a song maybe 10 or 11 times, because it really gets you actively listening to the little nuances that make the song happen. And it sort of gets you past the initial sort of passive listen stage, right? And a lot of songs we hear passively, but when we start to actively listen, if we listen enough, it will open up a whole new world for us on things that are happening within the song. And sometimes songs that sound really complex actually show that their complexity comes from their simplicity. Listen to the song and take notes after each listen, and really focus on listening and then taking notes. Don't take notes while you're listening because that can be a distraction to what you're actually hearing. So focus on listening and then writing down what you heard. So the idea here is to really to study and understand what is under the hood of your songs. So you can use what you've learned to improve your own songwriting skills. And again, this is something active listening takes practice, and then putting what you learn into practice takes practice as well. But it's definitely something that's fun, and I think it will help you to be a better songwriter overall. And remember, there's no right or wrong way to understand what is happening in what you hear. So if you make notes and you call it like a red section, or you just call it section number 2, as long as you understand what you're talking about, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if someone else calls that the pre-chorus or if somebody calls that the bridge. All that matters is you understand what that section is doing. So, what songs should you listen to when you think about active listening? Well, I think that you should first start with your favorite songs because obviously you resonate with them. They're songs that you know a little bit more, and you can have some enjoyment of trying to figure out what's under the hood. Also, any songs that catch your attention. Maybe you're listening to a playlist and a song comes on and you're like, wow, I really dig that song. Well, add that to your list of songs that you want to actively listen to. If you're trying to compete with getting publishing deals and you're trying to be a commercial songwriter, you really should pay attention to the songs on the charts because those are the songs that are making money. So pick songs that are sort of in the public, making money, and you can start to see, what's happening from a trend perspective. You can also pick songs by your favorite writers and producers. I'm a big fan of Max Martin, so I study a lot of his songs. I like a lot of songs by Andrew Watts and Ali Tamposi, so I listen to their songs a lot. I like Charlie Puth. I like some other groups like The Ivy, Virginia to Vegas. Like, study those writers and producers, and also study songs by your favorite artists. We've gotten some workshops on the channel here about certain songwriters. We have one about Taylor Swift. We have one about Tom Petty. We will soon have one about the writing of Bob Dylan. So look at specific artists and actively listen and analyze to see what's happening. Also, what's really fun to do and can be a challenge at the same time is listen to songs that are in genres that you don't normally listen to. So if you normally do country, maybe spend some time doing some pop listening, or maybe listen to another genre that you're not as familiar with. I think that makes a big difference. Also, do this with songs that are popular that you can't stand. Because if it's a popular song, something is resonating with an audience. So you should be able to figure out, okay, what's resonating, even if you don't like it. Places to find songs, you can go to the Billboard Songwriter chart. You can look up Hits Daily Double. They have a top 50 chart. The media-based building charts, they have some great charts on what's going on. You can also look up the most Shazam songs in your city. My city would be Minneapolis. And then the most Shazammed songs in the US to see what is the most popular. So that's really what active listening is and why it's important. I hope this gives you some glimpse or some spark of, hey, I want to listen differently to songs, because I think listening makes you a better writer. Just like they say reading makes you a better writer. Listening as a songwriter is a skill that you should develop. So hopefully this is helpful. If it is, definitely check out other videos on the channel, hit subscribe. Also, there's a link in the description to join me for my live meetup workshops where we go over a lot of different songcraft and a lot of different topics. So we'd love to see you at a live workshop, but if you can't make them, keep watching on the channel, and I just appreciate your support. So thanks again, and head on to the next video, and we'll see you next time.